Is it okay to criticize figures when the product turns out not like the prototype? And what is fair criticism? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's live stream. Hi everyone and welcome to One Sixth Figure Focus, and you're very welcome to episode number 22 of The Focus. And the focus for today is about gaps between prototype and product. There are different trails of thought in this kind of for this topic. There are people that say it's people who want the exact prototype. I would fall more or less in that kind of category, we'll say. I see the prototype and that's what I pre-order based off. There are people say it doesn't matter and you can't accept the prototype. And then I suppose the third category, I'm generalizing here, people that would say, you know, there's an acceptable gap. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'd like to get the chat's input on that as well. So just want to get my banners going, have everything ready here. Right, let's address the chat. So William Owens, hello everyone on this fine Sunday. I'm guessing the weather is better for you or where you are, William, than it is here. I can hear the wind howling outside and the rain coming down. It's definitely autumn or the fall, as the Americans would say. And thank you very much. I think it was William Owens who basically had a generous super chat last week, I believe. Thank you very much. Hello, Focus Moose Stream. How are you? And this figure received a lot of heat early, but collectors are now warming up to this version of Black Widow. Right. Well, we're going to discuss that and more. And as usual, I try to, like, a lot of what I build my channel on is I like to just call it like I see it. If something is particularly good and I feel something does match the prototype or something is, you know, exceptional, that's what I'm going to say. If something is not up to scratch, that's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to be the person who says everything's great, but I'm also not going to be the person that, you know, just trashes everything. There's a lot of stuff that I pass on. It's not because it's not good, it's just because it doesn't resonate with me. Scott McDowell, hey guys, I'm chucking it down here to focus. Chucking it down. What does that mean? Are you drinking a beer or something like that? All right, so I'll give you an outline of what to expect in today's live stream, because I like to give people an outline because it gives them a chance to escape. If maybe what the live stream doesn't sound interesting to you, then of course you have the option to not stick around, but hopefully you'll stick around. Now I need to, where is all my stuff? My things seem to be disappearing. Let's see if I can get this back again. Here we go. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing today. So first of all, I'm going to introduce the new videos that are now live on my channel. Over the last week, I've recorded a lot of videos. And yesterday I recorded a good few videos as well. There's a mixture of different types of videos. We are definitely going to talk about releases this week. We're definitely going to talk about releases this week. There's no question. It's actually part of the focus of today's particular live stream. We're definitely going to talk about that. And of course, we're also going to be looking at announcements that we saw today. Take a brief look at them. We'll touch on the in-art news, and then we'll get into the kind of, I suppose, the meat of today's live stream, which is like fair criticism. Are we allowed to discuss that? I would definitely be, yes, you are absolutely allowed to say if something isn't up to scratch or you feel something doesn't warrant the price or something like that. We're all consumers at the end of the day. But I think there is a kind of a way of doing it constructively, because again, these things are created by artists and I definitely do not have the talent to recreate some of the things that they can create. So that's what we're going to get into. New videos, upcoming lives, release announcements, in-art news and fair criticism. So if you are sticking around, I'll see, I'll go for at least an hour. We'll see how we get on, and we might go on a bit further than that. Do you want to just do a quick check-in, folks? Where are you? What time it is? And what continent or country you're in, or what city you're in? Maybe tell me like what time it is in the morning or the afternoon or the evening or the middle of the night, and maybe go on, tell us what the weather's like Scott has done. It's raining down here too, chucking it down. Thank you, I'm with you. Sorry, not enough coffee today, I think, Scott. Thank you very much, I appreciate you clarifying that. All right, so obviously, shameless plug, ever since becoming a hitting the 1,000 subs and becoming a YouTube partner and got monetized and everything, I made the decision that from the first super chat, if I was lucky enough to receive them, that from the 1st of August, when Brannon Salad chimed in with a $20 super chat, from the 1st of August to the 31st of December, New Year's Eve of this year, I would gather up all of that revenue from super chats, super likes, super thanks, YouTube ad revenue, all that kind of stuff, and in January I would donate it all on behalf of the community to the Temple Street Children's Hospital. That is the National Children's Hospital here in Ireland, and it's based in Dublin. So far, we have collectively raised through like I said, the revenue stream, the ad stream, super likes, super thanks, super chats, all that stuff. As a 1/6 scale community, we have raised €506.06. So the dollar is a bit stronger than the euro, so that'd be just under $500, I believe. So like that's, you know, obviously massively generous on your part, and I'm really looking forward to doing a stream in January where we'll celebrate how much we've actually raised, and I'll do that donation. So these are videos that are now live on the channel. This one here, they are collecting, or sorry, let's try it again, they are listening. That's basically about 7 or 8 different things that I've noticed that Hot Toys tend to be doing that we have asked for a long time. You know, USB lightsabers and USB powered and better diorama bases, that kind of thing. But maybe it's a very short, concise video just about things that I've noticed that, yeah, I think they are actually listening. They're not giving us everything we want, but they're never going to be able to keep everyone happy. But that video is live if you want to check it out after the stream. So, very topical. This is a fantastic figure. I think this was my 4th Hot Toy ever got in hand. Got my first 2 Hot Toys in 2009. They were 2 Dark Knight figures, Dark Knight and the Joker. Took a massive hiatus until around 2017. Got the Mark 6, and then I think this was the 4th one I ever got. And this is never going to leave the collection. I do think this is the Deadpool to have. And with that announcement, it just reinvigorated my excitement for this particular figure. So very, very short unboxing and review the video there on the channel. Echo. So Echo. This looks awesome. This is one of these figures that I kind of really have to take a step back and kind of say, right, you can't collect everything. But we'll take a look at this later on in the releases section of this live stream. Droids, that's up live on my channel as well. I'll give my kind of opinions and reaction to this announcement. I go full rant on this. I think it's a fairly constructive, it's constructive criticism. I mean, I've always gravitated towards people who have a mind of their own. I never really, not too into, I suppose, sheep. So I kind of like people who have a mind of their own. They're able to kind of go, you know, I went away and I thought about that, and I think this because, and then back it up with kind of reasoning and stuff like that. I just kind of admire that in a person when they have their mind of their own and they take the data in, they think about it, and then they process it and they go, you know, I disagree with you there. I think this because whatever. So yeah, I just give my thoughts on this, many of which you're probably going to hear now, and hopefully I'll hear some of yours as well. But that video is now live. And Boba Fett and the Throne. This is a piece I'm passing on, but my God, I have yet to see a unboxing review or photography of this that didn't look tip-top amazing. Really, really like it. Right. Oh yeah, this is upcoming. This is not live yet. I have edited, I've filmed and edited part of it. I just have to finish the last bit of editing. I might actually do this after this stream, and I'd like to get that up tonight later on, because it's just, I'm starting to do more unboxing reviews and kind of practicing and kind of want to see like what direction do I want to take these. I want them short. I won't do articulation. That's what I know so far. But they're very biased reviews because these are figures I buy myself with my own money, and I don't like get anything free or whatever like that. From time to time I get a deal with Lion Rock Toys, who have been absolutely fantastic to me and for me. So I will, of course, when I do get something, at a discount for doing reviews. I will always say it. Alright, and this is also live. I did this earlier on today. It was like 9 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, 9 o'clock my time. This is episode 30 of Visions, where I sit down and discuss the past, present and future of Leslie. She's marvelous. If you want to give that a watch, she has her own YouTube channel and Instagram. She also did a section of like 6-Scale News on Justin's channel, based in Australia, and the first female collector and character. She's a character as well. She was really, really nice, and had a great conversation with her today. So that's the first ever female collector I've had on an episode of Visions. So you might want to check that out. So yeah, we're going to start off with releases. I suppose we're going to look at releases, right? Which we obviously are going to take a look at some of those blogger photos of ScarJo. Alright, I'm just going to find these blogger images so we can get started on this. Alright. Okay. Might do a quick check-in the chat before we go through some of these. So Scott McDowell says 307, just up the road to you in Belfast. Ah, right, good stuff, good stuff. It's nice to have people closer to home. I'd say I can count the Irish collectors in like one hand, who actually watch these streams. Yourself, I think there's a guy called Lee as well, sometimes chimes in, and Keith the Padawan collector, but and sometimes 6-Scale Bob as well. But Scott, thank you very much for chiming in. England 307, beautiful day. Man, you got the weather over there, Andre. Moose Dream says Cambridge, MA, USA, and it's 10 a.m. Good morning to you. South Africa, cool. I've never been to South Africa. I've been to Africa. I've been to Egypt. Saw the pyramids and all that kind of stuff, but that's the only time I was ever in Africa, but never to South Africa. Good stuff. I have some friends from South Africa. Phoenix, Arizona. That sounds like somewhere that's warm. 7:07 a.m. and the weather outside is, that doesn't surprise me. Thanks for being here. Hello, Shane in the chat. Commander Green, thank you very much for being here. Chudi, what's up, Shane? Chudi is like Chuck Norris. He doesn't sleep, he waits. Chudi, thank you very much for being here. Just massively supported the channel for as long as I can remember, so we do appreciate you. Thank you. 9:14 a.m. in Houston, Texas. Good morning. The interview with Marvelez was fantastic. William, she was very easy to talk to, and she definitely I like someone who's chatty, and she was chatty, and she stole the show. We got a laughy face then from Chudi. All right, so go for it, folks. Go to town on this. If you disagree with me, tell me. I want to hear it. If you think this is the image of ScarJo, tell me. I want to hear it. If you agree with me and you think no, it's not quite there, maybe if you're in between, let me know. So we're going to talk about future releases. Now we do actually revisit this, because the main point of this live stream is about differences between when products come out different to the prototypes, and what's an acceptable gap, and how is it okay to criticize, and what's a good way, what qualifies as fair criticism, because we don't want to get toxic, obviously. So let's take a look at some of these photos. Just going to flick through some of these photos and give you my thoughts on this. I am disappointed. Now, it's a first world problem. I am disappointed. The reason is because I do not have a Black Widow in my collection, and I was really excited about this being my representation of Black Widow. Why? Because I really like this particular suit. You have the split cut boot. I liked the head sculpt, which I show later on in the stream, as in the head sculpt on the prototype. I was very excited about it because I thought it looked like Scarlett Johansson. I thought it was actually the best 6-scale figure we had of, like, that was the pose right there. That's how I wanted to pose it for the start anyway. And that's just, see, like with the figures, like, I'll never go statue, because I like the idea of posing and reposing a figure. Now, I tend to like set and forget for months and then come back and then repose. So I don't like not the biggest poser. I'm not like posing with Peter, Loco Lou, Lael, or Iron Logan, who like repose regular. Like, I do enjoy posing, But sometimes when I get a nice pose and I really, really like it, I'm like, no, I don't want to mess with that. I really like it. This is a very simple one, but I would probably be my first kind of walking pose, the two batons. I really, really like the proportions. I like the suit. What kills it here is that I think the head's a bit too big and I don't think it looks like Scarlett Johansson. I don't think this is what I would consider an acceptable gap between prototype and product. You know, but I appreciate, like, you know, could I do this myself? No, of course I couldn't. I couldn't make that sculpt. I couldn't do those paint applications. I couldn't do that cut and sew, the engineering, but at the same time, it's not my job to. It's Hot Toys' job. It's the engineers, it's the tailorers, it's the painters, it's the sculptor. It's not my job. So same way I couldn't build a car. Again, not my job. My job is a teacher. And I'm sure if I was doing my job incorrectly, I'm sure I'd be told you're doing your job incorrectly. And, you know, there's a certain standard you have to do. So, like, I suppose it's how you go about critiquing these figures. Now I'm getting into the kind of meat and potatoes of this particular stream, but I'm just going to move on. So in summary, I really wanted this. I really like the suits, got that black and gold look from, like, reminiscent of the comic books. Thought the hair was kind of cool the way they had it, and I liked the prototype head sculpt. But unfortunately, this doesn't look like Scarlett Johansson to me. But the rest of it seems good. Like the belt, it's kind of more white or silvery than gold. But again, I could have definitely just got over that. I like these kind of silver bits here, this design that they have here in the suit, and the kind of pads on the shoulders and stuff like that. And this gun's pretty cool. Like, this is a regular kind of post piston. I like this one, this kind of extended one. I don't know what you call that, but it looks like it has the laser sight there or something like that. Doesn't look too bad there. And I know I've seen those in-hand photos. I know in-hand means you have it in your hand. Like, you have the figure, you're looking at it with your own eyes, not through a lens or a screen. I get that. But the photos I saw, like, were just like, someone obviously picked it up and just took a few photos holding it in their hand. They did look better, but I just do think there's still a significant gap between proto and release. I'm going to check the chat and see what you think. So we have 24 here. Thank you very much. Blue Tattoo. I believe that's Stefan's brother. And I saw your comment on the Marvelous interview. People are really polite. I think he said something like, oh, sorry, I couldn't catch it live. Caught it on the replay. And I'm like, I'm just happy you're watching, man. I'm just happy you're watching. Thank you. Something is off with this figure. Yeah, it's definitely the head sculpt, I do believe. Hello, Shane. So it's 3:15 in Staffordshire, England. Excellent. Noble Young. Noble Young, did you receive your Snowspeeder Luke? What I'm referring to is I entered the 6 scale reviews 2000. They hit 2,000 subs at a giveaway. It was for Snowspeeder Luke. I commented on the video and I entered and I won it. But I said that the only reason I was commenting on their videos and participating is to help their algorithm, because I really like Dan and Dre and their content. And I have Snowspeeder Luke and it's amazing. And I said if I won, I'd give it away. And that's exactly what happened. So Noble Young came second because they read my comment and they were like, okay, he might give this away, so we'll just do another draw. So I'm just wondering, did you get the figure yet? Because it's hey, original trilogy, and that is such, I think it is my favorite original trilogy figure. So I hope you like it. Blackbird Tech, how are you? I believe we streamed together a long time ago. I've always seen you comment on the channels, on various different channels and streams. A very, very active member of the 1/6 scale community. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. Always nice when these local celebrities pop up in your streams. Head sculpt slightly off, but the outfit is excellent. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the head sculpt's more than slightly off, but this is the thing. Like, I like these differences of opinions. Like, you know what I mean? So William reckons the head sculpt's slightly off. But is it an acceptable gap, do you think, William? Like, in your opinion, like, I really want this, like, but maybe I can just get over it. Maybe I can just get over it. I don't know. Judy said, hit the like button. That sounds like an order, folks. He's going to get a bit aggressive if you don't hit the like button. No, I won't. I don't think this is as bad as people are saying. I don't know why this head sculpt is getting more hate when it's the same as the endgame version head sculpt. I presume it's because, well, It's not really though, is it? Like, because the hair is different here, and unless you're not counting the hair as part of the sculpt, and I would count the hair as part of the head sculpt. Yeah, it's getting a lot. I've seen the. I tend not to comment on Facebook posts really. I just don't really tend to do it. I definitely don't argue with people in comment sections. It's not what I do. I tend to just voice my opinions here or in streams or whatever. But like, no, that's fair enough. Like, save on, you reckon like it's not as bad as people are saying. Completely entitled to your opinion, and I appreciate the difference of the opinion as well. I don't agree though. I don't think it's a Tony Stank. I don't think it's an Ant-Man. They're like the go-to bad sculpts. But yeah, I'm disappointed because, do you know what it was? I was kind of, this one of the selling points for me, the white suit. I like the white suit, but I think this black suit here, I thought the head sculpt and prototype was superior on the black suit than on the white suit. And I think the contrast, I was going to pair this with Yelena, and the contrast between the black suit and the white suit and the Yelena's blonde hair and her red hair, I think that contrast would look really well. And I still think I might even go down that route, but I'm not for, I don't think I will, to be honest, because I'm torn. The heart says go on, get it, and the head says no, it's not up to the standard. But I do appreciate your opposing view. That is definitely encouraged. I do not like the face on this Black Widow, and her hair is the wrong color. Is the hair the wrong color? I thought she did have red hair. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I could let us know, because I thought it was red. Is it maybe a different tone of red or something like that? Nick Carmen, the head sculpt is better than the previous iterations, but it's still not great. I thought the head sculpt in the prototype was a solid. I give it an 8. I don't think it was like a, oh my god, that's a 10 out of 10. That is like, that's just a shrink ray. Again, I have to always credit Collecting Weekly when I use that, because that's a perfect way of describing an amazing head sculpt. But I thought it was a strong 8, and I was excited about it because I have no female characters in my collection. I do have Rosario Dawson on the way, but I really wanted, like, well, come on, Rosario Dawson, Ahsoka, like, no brainer. But I thought, like, I do like Black Widow. Could be ScarJo's last outing in the character. She's had beef with Disney. The black and gold suit, strong female character, yada yada, all that kind of stuff. And paired with Yelena, I thought they'd look really well together, but just now I'm kind of going, no, not sure. But I didn't pre-order. I didn't pre-order, so I got a chance to take a sneak peek. I do that sometimes. I'll pre-order the stuff I'm not going to change your mind on, and then the stuff that I'm like, okay, I want this, but I want to see that head sculpt. Case in point, Doc Ock. JC Hong came out and said, look guys, this is not the final product. So in JC we trust. So I didn't order, I waited to see the final product. Hopefully they'll reveal that soon. We have another local celebrity, one of the founding fathers of the founding queens of Figure Flex Friday. One of the hosts there, I believe, having an absolute amazing time in New York Comic Con with Loco Lou and Lael. I saw some of the photos. The cosplayers just look on another level. Luminar, how are you? Hope you're having a great weekend and a great time at NYCC. I'm jealous. The Black Widow from Endgame looks more like Scarlett Johansson. I do like the new Black Widow, even if the paint app is not quite proto level. Yeah. Maybe I'll change your mind. Maybe I just need to, maybe I'll see a nice 160-ish and just snap that up. It does not look like ScarJo to me. That's just like drop mic. All right, appreciate your opinion, appreciate your thoughts. That was awesome of you to pass off the prize to Shane Urok. I appreciate that, thank you very much. But look, I have it on my shelf. Yeah, you know, like it's someone did say, yeah, you could have took it and sold it. I could have, but at the same time, you know. Noble Young, you gotta get that cough. You gotta get that scene to, man. You know, just look after yourself. You haven't got it yet. You will. Hey Shane, another collector from Northern Ireland. Brilliant stuff. So I don't know how to pronounce your username. Arazi. I'm being a bit slow here. That's amazing. So we got like 2 people from Northern Ireland here. What part of Northern Ireland? So you have someone from Belfast, and where are you from? So Judy just giving a shout out to Luminara. Blackbird Tech says Black Widow looks good at some angles, but off at others. Lighting is definitely a factor here. In hand, it could look totally different. The in hand, well, obviously in hand obviously means that I would have it right here in my hand looking at it. But I have seen photos of another collector who just bought it and took a picture of it in their hand, and it does look a bit better. But I still think there's that significant gap, a gap between the two. So it's a shade or tone of red. If you look at the comparison between this and the endgame version, you will see that this is literally a reuse of the endgame version. They just changed the hair and makeup. Okay, fair enough. So it's just like a it's just paint apps then and different hair. Okay. Her hair is more of a natural brownish red, not Kool-Aid red. Same Shane. I don't currently have a female character in my collection. Either after sold Nebula. From these photos I feel the head sculpt is a little too big for the body. Yeah, what did Six Skill Mafia Anthony said? It's like a potato. That always, come on, I'm Irish, I'm always going to laugh at that. Hot Toys has never been spot on with Black Widow head sculpt. Yeah, okay, yeah. Or Luke, which is an advantage of Snowspeeder Luke having the helmet, because it does actually look like him. They got his mouth right, I think. I want the Angelina Jolie, so that's the one from the Eternals. Nick Carmen, situations like this are why a lot of us, included me, quit pre-ordering. You gotta wait for the final image products. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for it. In some pics, she looks like she tasted something sour. That's funny. The only reason why I keep mentioning it is because of reuse, because of the inking version, is because the endgame version got a lot of love on its head sculpt. Oh, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I'd get this Black Widow and recast the sculpt because it could be a paint problem. The only reason why I keep mentioning it, yeah, I read that one out already. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's how you pronounce my name. Lisburn, just outside of Belfast. Good stuff. Thanks for letting me know. All right. So this is like, look. One thing's for sure, I'm not buying this for 260. Because that's, I believe, the price it's going for. I would still love to have this paired next to Yelena, but there is a gap, and I think the only chance this comes into my collection if I get on a significant discount, but then I'll still have a figure on my shelf that I'm not entirely happy with. And if I go down that route, that's destined, that's a kind of a recipe for disaster in terms of like wanting to sell stuff and stuff. So yeah, I don't think this is going to come into my collection, and I know it's definitely not going to come in for 260. So the other release that came out, what was the other release that came out this week? Was it the Boba? Double check. I think it was Boba and the Throne. Just gonna go in and have a look. I think it was Boba and the Throne. Just let me know if you know what other. I don't think there was any released this week, but just do a bit of a check on this. Yeah, there was announcements, but oh no, it was Echo. Echo, yeah, Echo. Okay, so we'll take a look at Echo then. All right, so. Come on, computer. There we go. Okay. Echo, Echo, Echo. All right, let's take a look at this bad boy. Okay. First impressions. This is rock and roll, man. This looks so good. If you've been following the channel or any of the live streams or seen any of my collection tours, you know I'm a Trooper collector. While I rule out entire lines like the sequel trilogy, Clone Wars, PS4 Spider-Man games, and I won't get anything from those properties, not because they're not good, some of those things are amazing, but it's just because I can't collect everything. You know, there's limited budget and there's limited space, and you know, I wouldn't want to collect everything anyway. I'd rather have a smaller collection of quality than a bigger collection of just everything. So these Troopers do appeal to me. I haven't watched The Bad Batch. I know nothing, very little about The Bad Batch, apart from what I've pieced together from listening to other people talk about it and stuff like that. But this looks so good. I mean, come on, like, it's a trooper. It is a really nice color combination. You've got that grey, black, and red. It's heavily weathered anyway. Maybe not battle damage, but heavily weathered. There's a lot of scratching and scuff marks on it. The actual use your words, design and shape of the armor looks fantastic. The head sculpt, like, they just do the various different iterations of Tamora Morrison really, really good. He's got that Lobot Beats-esque thing on his head, which is unique, and even these little holes in his head as well. He's got that cyber arm that you can disconnect and reconnect different gadgets. The backpack looks amazing. I mean, come on. This is one of the situations where I think this head sculpt turned out better than the prototype. It's actually, there's more detail I think in this than the actual prototype image. You got that arm there with all these like little bits that pop out. Even that looks great. Looks like I love the way that the tone is different here. It's like he's just cobbled all this stuff together. That reminds you of the C3PO. Is it the red C3PO? The reddish C3PO, should I say? That's hilarious. He's doing this salute with this sort of tool or whatever he has. If they complete this line, these are going to look great together. Like the Inquisitors will look better together than just one or two. Yeah, this is good. What's this? It's like a massive garlic press. Or is this the thing they used to use for making mashed potatoes? He's got quite the number of accessories and connectors. This is 285. But it does come in a bunch, like, so he has his weapons, he has a bunch of different swap out parts for his arm. Like, he has the arm itself with the hand. He's got that extendable like, grappling hook type thing. He's got this massive garlic crush. He's got the thing that he was saluting with a few pictures back. The helmet looks great. I mean, come on, it'd be a toss up here. Do you buy it? Do you pose it with the helmet or with the head sculpt? And I heard like Costa saying on I think it was Manhawk Collectibles he was on, he was saying that he considered buying like 2 of each because the head sculpts are going to look like they're going to be so good and the helmets look like they're so good. But then he said, no, I'm not going to do that because that kind of takes the fun away of the 6-scale figures. Like, you essentially, like, you get to, you know, for a few weeks or a few months, whatever you want, you can pose it like this. But then you can swap it out, take out the box, take out some accessories, swap out the helmet for the head sculpt, swap out the arm for maybe the saluting tool arm thing he was using or the grappling hook. And then you have a completely different display and it keeps your display looking fresh. And I think that's one of the things that attracts me to, well, I know that's one of the things that attracts me to buying 6-scale figures instead of going down the statue route. Because a statue is like, you know, no disrespect if you like statues, but like it's, you take it out and it's there and that's it. Like, it might have a killer pose, the detail might be great, but for me, I like the idea of just moving parts and getting to repose it, even if I don't repose that often. And some of the figures I don't repose, they're just like, I just have to pose the way I want it and I just leave them there. But I do like that option, even if I'm doing it rarely, even if I do it once a year, it still warrants getting a figure over a statue. But this guy looks... Yeah, I'm scared to watch the Bad Batch now because I know I'll just enable myself. I'm missing out on a load of these chats, so I'm going to address them. Luminara says, currently on the way back from New York Comic Con, I had a great time. Excellent, glad to hear that, and I'm very, very jealous. Scott reminding about Echo, good stuff. I was watching Brother Cousins today and he mentioned that his favourite Hot Toys Black Widow is the real hair blonde version with the green top. Yeah, I heard that as well. He did mention though that the hair like isn't great, but I think that's the sculpt he likes in it. Is that possibly? 28 people in the chat, thanks very much for being here. If you haven't done so already, maybe you consider subscribing or clicking the like button. Thank you. I'll probably pick up the white suit version instead of this one. Yeah, I presume he's talking about the Black Widow. That's an option now for me as well, but I was really sold the combination of the black and gold version of Black Widow posed with Yelena, because Yelena has the white suit. I suppose they'd look great together with the white suits too, because they're kind of a set, but I like the contrast. Mike, who's this figure supposed to be of? You joker. That's awesome. Was it still Was it still pretty great without Sideshow and some of the other major companies that skipped out? Presume that's a reference to New York Comic Con. Commander Green saying hello to Luminara. I was intended to pass on the Bad Batch figures, but Echo looks so good, I'm teetering. Dangerous. Echo looks great. I'm not a fan of the human head sculpts for cartoon TV shows. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about that. I actually really like them personally, considering as well, God, I did not like the Sideshow versions of Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought they were poor enough now, to be honest, but I like the animated versions. But again, I appreciate the differing opinion. New York Comic Con this year was heavily anime focused, so if you are an anime fan, it might have suited you down to the ground then. Luminara, are you a big anime fan? Were you in your element? Shane, Echo is stunning in my opinion. I'm 100% in on all clones. I love Troopers so much, considering shifting to Troopers only and prequel clone characters to go with them. Good stuff. Bold move. Hey Blackbird Tech. The Bad Batch figures look better than how... The Bad Batch figures look better than how good the show actually is, in my opinion. So the figures are stronger than the actual show. Thumbs up. I have to go to work. We'll watch the rest of the chat later. Excellent. Thank you, Deadpool Red Suit. Enjoy work. Have a good time. And thanks for stepping in. Echo looks really good. Love the weathering. Hope the team get announced. I think there's only a few more announcements being made. And I think Hunter was delayed until December or something like that. So they were the two releases. But I am going to talk about Boba on the Throne, because I just blown away by that. Anyone in the chat have Boba on the Throne in hand? Or maybe do you have Boba on the Throne on pre-order? Or maybe you're looking for it on the drop-down deals, because from what I understand, they're already starting to sit in Hong Kong. So, and I do think this one is destined for deals. Maybe it could be a Black Friday pickup or something like that. Who knows the way Sideshow's going these days. Alright, so let me know, do you like this or not? I mean, for me, I have Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett, and I have the Boba Roba 2-pack from The Mandalorian. I have decided that I'm done with Boba Fett. I don't want to get any more. I won't be picking up the quarter scale one. I won't be picking up this, and I won't be picking up the version that released from the Book of Boba Fett. However, this looks a 1. I don't have anything bad to say about this. I mean, it's $3.90, and by the sounds of things, it's already starting to sit, so you can get it cheaper than that. I love the repaint armor. This gun doesn't come with Empire Strikes Back Boba, and it also doesn't come with the Boba Roba 2-pack from The Mandalorian. This scene, although the Book of Boba Fett is an entire piece of work or story I didn't particularly like, this is from The Mandalorian. You know, this is from The Mandalorian. And if you probably could do it getting some sort of a backdrop like that, or diorama made, or even just, could be like a cardboard type of thing. I'd say a diorama would be a lot nicer though. Pardon, maybe Jazz Inc. will start doing a diorama like that. It'd be great if like you could, they made, I know that they did for like, is it the Tantive 5 or Tantive 4? That Vader hallway scene, they made 2 versions, a true 6 scale and then one that fit in a detolf. Maybe they could do something that would, you could slip this into a detolf and then put the throne in front. That'd be cool. Maybe even have it on top of something like Beskar Kid did. Look, Boba Fett's armors, they're just great looking. They're just a great, cool looking armor. I know they're only variations of the original trilogy one, but like, look at this. Like, I like the tone of green. You can even see like the battle damage underneath. That's not entirely screen accurate because on screen it was a lot smoother, but it still looks cool. The kind of mustardy yellow knee pads and kind of shoulder pads. Even you have that tone on the top of the gun as well, which I really like. Kind of like Rancors. I believe these are Rancors on the armrests. If you look at here, this looks like stressed leather or something. You can see the texture looks leathery, but it's not. It's just plastic. It's not even pleather, because the pleather would, it'd be great if it was leather, but it's not. If it was pleather, I prefer plastic over pleather, because the pleather would inevitably, depending on what climate you are, it could end up cracking and peeling. But I like even the texture here. See, it's like if he sits on this, It's like they've factored in the creases that he would make by sitting on it. And there are numerous different ways you could pose this. You could have him sitting down like that. You could have him with the gun in his hand. You could have him like almost standing on the throne. You could have him just posed there with the gun to the side, and he could be using the oh, look at this, like imagine that with Fennec Shand here with the spotchka. That's just a no-brainer. These are some of the few effects I actually do use. I actually think these flamethrowers that they give us with Mandos and Bobas and Incinerator Troopers are quite good. Like this, even this simple. Have him holding the rifle or the gun. Have Fennec Shand on the left there. And then have the hologram of the Slave One popping up there. And the head sculpt. I want to get a foot. Look at that. Even that's so simple. It's just sometimes the simplest pose are the most natural and realistic ones. Head sculpt. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Like, again, this is a classic example of I know I go on I go on Collector's Lounge every Sunday. I don't think it's actually happening today, and they go around the panel for the 3 or 4 releases in that week, and then Neil goes, now we're going to go to focus. And I know he's not getting anything, but the reason I do that is because I want to be in the collecting. Like, I've been collecting pretty much all my life, but collecting Hot Toys since on and off since 2009, 2010. I want to be here next year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and I'd like, in some capacity, to be collecting until it doesn't become fun anymore. So some things you do have to pass, even though this looks amazing. But then you have 3 Boba Fett's on your shelf, like, you know. So I don't particularly need it. Really love the color scheme with the Echo, the red, the black, and the gunmetal looks great. Yeah, I completely agree. I have Boba on the Throne incoming. Can't wait. Which would you rather have in your display, though? The Eternals, the Bad Batch, or Inquisitors group if you could only choose one? Well, I'm going to rule out the Eternals straight away because I did not like the source material at all. I haven't watched the Bad Batch, and I watched Kenobi, but I didn't really like any of the Inquisitors. They didn't just like draw me in. So I guess I'd have to go away and watch the Bad Batch, because then it's a fair comparison. Because then I'd have the source material for the Bad Batch and the source material for the Inquisitors, and then decide. But I do like Troopers, and that could give me the edge there. That could give me the edge there. So I'd probably lean towards the Bad Batch there. But it wouldn't be a fair comparison unless I watched the Bad Batch. I get Boba Fett and the Throne on Monday. Good stuff. That's exciting. This Boba looks great. I was never a fan of the bird poop. Oh man, the battle damage one, Mike. That battle damage Sarlacc pit. See, I'm battle damage all the way. I think the weathering and the scarring and the little dings and stuff like that add more character. But again, I do welcome the difference of opinions. That's why we're here. Chewie, for me, I feel like the colorways of the Eternals is going to really stand out. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm still paying Boba on the Throne. I can't wait for the set. Yes and no. So Luminar was saying that New York Comic Con was heavily anime this year. So yes and no. Dragon Ball, Bleach, and One Piece were represented well. Would have liked to see Attack on Titan represented. Sideshow and Hot Toys really missed out on a chance at promotion and pre-orders. Yeah, it was strange, eh? Because they are doing their like Sideshow online Comic-Con thing, and you know what? Isn't that like a classic example of things that have changed since the pandemic and stuff like that? They kind of realized, you know what? We could probably just do this coinciding with New York Comic Con online, save money, and still advertise. But it's better to see stuff in hand. Like, I mean, how excited would you have been? I don't know if you're into X-Men. You are. You have a Storm collectible, I believe, at Luminara. I think multiple. So how cool would it have been to see the Wolverine in hand? Because this year, Sideshow, they did have that Wolverine from Days of Future Past with the real leather coat and all that, but they didn't display it with the real leather coat. And a side note, but how cool would it have been to see that in hand? And I think that would have enabled people to pre-order. There's no substitution from actually having the thing right in front of you. But at the same time, I never really buy the in-hand argument either. So I think maybe there's something when it's right there and you can nearly reach out and touch it. It's probably the best way to sell the figure. Need all the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters and Hot Toys Jabba and Denizens. Focus. Not having seen all 3 original trilogy films all the way through. Where's the block button? Only joking. Which one is the film where he falls into the Sarlacc pit? I know I keep bringing up a sore spot. Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. Yeah, he didn't have the coolest death. He came across as a bit incompetent in the end, but look, everyone makes mistakes. Alright, so they're the 3 releases. I know Boba wasn't technically released this week, but I hadn't really done much commentary on it, so there you have it. Now the announcements. So I'm just going to get these announcements up here. So, droids. We had droids, didn't we? We had droids. Alright. Anyone getting the droids? I'm just getting them ready here for us. Okay. So these droids, you have R5-D4, Pit Droid and BD-72. R5-D4 first appeared in 1977 in Star Wars A New Hope. He's in the scene where Luke and Luke's uncle want to get like a protocol droid, and they need to get I think it's R2-D2 as well, and they end up this one has a bad motivator, basically explodes, and they get R2-D2 instead. The Pit Droids first appeared, as far as I know, in episode 1, and this guy here, BD-72 or version of BD-72 first appeared, I think it was in a game with Cal Kestis. I don't play the game, so I'm not familiar with Cal. I know who he is, but I don't know anything about him. I really like R5-D4. I recently sold the 3 3/4 inch Power of the Force carded R5-D4. I just think it's a really cool looking droid, but not enough for me to go and spend 265 on these 3 pieces. So what do you think in the chat? Missed DX R2? Yeah, I'm holding out. I still haven't given up hope. I do believe that they're eventually going to do the C-3PO and R2-D2, as in the nice shiny gold C-3PO and R2-D2. I do think it's going to happen, and if it doesn't, I'm comfortable with that. So I won't be picking up the Attack of the Clones versions, and if they don't make the original trilogy ones, then I'll miss out. That's just the way it is. I hereby order you to finish the OT trilogy ASAP. You've got homework from Blackbird Tech. Mike, love the droid set. Should have included 3 pit droids. You know what? I think they're going to release another figure. They might release, I can't remember that girl's name, the one who's a mechanic and helps Mando build the N1 and babysit Grogu in one of the seasons there. I think it's season 2. So yeah, I think they're going to release another character with a pit droid or something like that. A lot of people think that because this is been announced, it's a precursor to the N1 Starfighter. I still don't think that's coming though. I think it's just too big. I know it'll snap together if they do announce it, but at the same time, I have no inside knowledge, and I've said the same thing I've said since the start when I saw it. I don't think they'll release it, but however, I want to be wrong. I want them to. People out there will buy it. I want to live vicariously through them. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see the production photos. I want to see how much it's going to cost. I want to watch streams with the popcorn and see people speak really passionately about it. So yeah, I hope they do give us the N1 so people who want it can get it. It was BD1 in Jedi Fallen Order. Same type of droid, but not the... Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, Scott. Thank you. So that's... that is... Cal Kestis' friend is BD1, and this is BD-72. Good stuff. Thank you. That makes sense. Should have included a fold-up pit droid like they do in the Phantom Menace. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I got a feeling more droids are coming, though. If you think about it, this is kind of year of the droid. You have... I actually did a video on this yesterday, and I forgot to mention one. In this year, we have R5-D4 here with the pit droid and BD-72. They've also announced an Attack of the Clones C-3PO and R2-D2. They've also announced KX Enforcer droid and the the Geonosis battle droids. That's a lot of droids in the 1 year, so if people are into droids, they could start ordering them and start building their droid collection. Pelimao is her name, or motto. I reckon they'll release another couple of pit droids. 2, there are 3 different paint jobs in the photos. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Blue to 2 says, I just want 3 pit droids and 1 of the other 2. Yeah, it'd be smart from them if they just do a pit droid 3-pack or something like that. Okay, so that was the, yeah, look, I'm not going to pick them up. The one that I would gravitate towards the most would be R5D4, but who do I even pair him with? Like, you know, I don't have a farm boy Luke. Maybe if you had a farm boy Luke, and then even, does it even make sense to pair Luke with R5D4? Seeing as they really wasn't the one. So this here is for completionists, I believe, or people who love droids, or people who are like, yeah, I want the N1, I'm going to set up a diorama with Mandalorian and all these and Pelimoto if they do actually release it. But yeah, they look cool. So we got another announcement as well this week, I believe. I think this was one of those weeks that my wallet was just really safe. No, we didn't. We spoke about Black Adam last week and Cobb Vanth and Neon Tech Iron Man. No. So I think we're on to the main. I think we're on to the main topic now. Alright, so right, we're gonna switch on to this. So this happened. In Art Queen Studio, or In Art by Queen Studio, obviously they've joined the 6 scale game. I don't need to tell you that, unless you're living under a rock, you know that In Art are getting involved and they have their own 6 scale figures coming out. So far they have announced and shown us prototype images of the In Art Joker, obviously, Pennywise, Gandalf, and the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman from The Batman. And it looks like their next announcement, with prototype pictures I'd imagine to come as well, is going to be Aragorn from The Lord of the Rings. This is just the base in a sword, but it already looks good. It already looks cool. Like that actually, whatever way they've done the paints and the cracks here and the leaves, like they look, they're kind of leaves, and it looks like there's like bits of like I want to say like wheat or something like that here. This looks really, really good. It looks like it actually looks like, has a real kind of a concrete look to it. So I presume it's just plastic or something like that. Maybe it is stone, who knows, but I presume it's just plastic. But the paint applications, the cracks, they're kind of just a bit dirt and the kind of worn look of it, and all these little leaves and stuff like that. Really kind of it's nice to be releasing this around fall or autumn. It just looks great, and I presume this is die cast. Like the sword, like again, I don't have the Lord of the Rings eye. There could be people watching this going, oh no, that's not 6 scale, that needs to be another 3 inches longer or whatever like that. It just looks good from just that one photo, just looks good to me, but I am not a Lord of the Rings expert, and maybe there's people looking at this going, this is way off. But I thought this was a nice way of teasing the inevitable Aragorn figure, which they are going to announce and drop. So yeah, not sure if there's any Lord of the Rings fan in the chat. We have 31 people here. Thanks very much for being there. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, and if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. I think I'm 1 off 1,400 subs. I only started the channel in like February. No, I've gone down. Someone didn't like the content and they disappeared. That's good too, though, and that's good too. I wouldn't stay subscribed to people who didn't like the content. Yeah, so any In Art or Lord of the Rings fans here? Blackbird Tech said, are these droids a hint of what's to come? I think a lot of people are saying that. I personally don't think it's going to happen, but at the same time, I want to be wrong on this. I want to be so wrong on this. I want to be wrong so I can see the hysteria and the hype and the excitement of the collecting community when they do announce it. I want to see how much it's going to cost. I want to go into Sideshow, log into my account, add it to my cart, and just tot up the shipping just to see how much it would cost, because then I can factor in how much it actually does cost. Now this is something I do quite regularly. I apologize if you've seen this before, but I'm just going to do it here now, seeing as I there's 32 people in the chat. So what I'm going to do is really quickly just give you an example. So, all right, so I'm going to just do this. Let's just say cable's a perfect example. Cable came out, and we're going to reference cable later on. I thought there was some discrepancies there, notable discrepancies and differences between the prototype image and the product we got. And I said, I still want it. I still want it. And I'll explain a bit more of this later on, but not for 270. I don't think it's worth 270. Because it had been delayed so much, and because of the trends now that things are just dropping down, I felt, no, 270 is too much. And another factor, it was my second last figure that I had on pre-order with Sideshow. I can't do Sideshow anymore. It's just too expensive. And I've been getting out of Sideshow. So I have one thing on order with them, and I had cable fully paid off on a payment plan, but because it's been delayed so much, I got to cancel it and keep my NRD. I rarely cancel figures, and the only time I've cancelled figures is when I can cancel because it's been so badly delayed, keep my NRD and get it cheaper elsewhere. I did that with the Battle Damage Mark 85. I got it from the Devil's Workshop for half, literally half the price, shipped, done, because they've been delayed so much, kept my NRD. With cable, I have cancelled it and I found it really cheap somewhere else. Lion Rock Toys gave me an absolutely outstanding deal on it. But I'm going to do this, just humor me. So cable is 270. If I'd let that go and go, you know what, I'm just going to accept that there's a difference between the prototype and the product. I still want it, but not for 270. But if I just said, you know, I'm just going to let it go, I won't cancel it, plus $50 to ship it to Ireland, that's what a standard 6 scale figure costs at the moment, and the price is increasing. Then I'm going to hit with a 30% customs charge. So this is what cable would have cost me. That's what cable would have cost me, not 270. So I cancelled it, got my refund, kept my NRD, and I have secured it for Lion Rock Toys for less than half of that shipped. And they mark values down, so I won't get caught for any customs. I got a fantastic deal on it. So I will be reviewing it, and I will be very, very happy to do so. All right, so let's take another look. I think we're moving on to the main topic here. I'm going to very, very quickly address the chats here. Army build the pit droids. Someone will. If that N1 comes out, a lot of people are going to be buying them. You're going to see people, I'd say people with a lot of space and a lot of money are going to buy a load of those R5D4s, sell off the R5D4s and the BD72s, keep one of each, and then keep a load of pit droids, unless of course they release a character who comes with a few pit droids, or you know, a pit droid 3-pack. It would make perfect sense. It would sell if people are getting the N1. So Mike and Blackbird Tech are talking to each other. As much as I would love to see you all freak out over the N1, I'm going to wait to see if it actually gets announced. Yeah. Mike says, just don't get my hopes up. So Mike and Blackbird Tech are having a conversation there. Good stuff. Laughed my ass off. That kills me. I'm one off 1400. Nope, someone has unsubscribed. Man, what can I do? Like, you know, like I don't really like. It's like I started the channel in February, and I genuinely didn't think. I thought, no, I'm going to be making videos and I'll be stuck on like 10 subs for months and nothing will happen. So you have to take yourself not too seriously as well. Like, so yeah, look, I'm happy enough to be where I am. Like, but yeah. So yeah, it's funny. It's like someone said, well, we'll see about that, and just disappeared. Okay, so this is the main topic. I'm actually going to go watch a movie after this. I watched Deadpool during the week because I was so bloody excited about that Deadpool 3 announcement. I went and I'd done an unboxing and review of that Deadpool 2 figure, and I had to watch Deadpool. So I'm going to watch Deadpool 2 after this stream. And then I also have to watch Terminator 1 and 2. I'm not going to be able to watch them all tonight, but because I'm on reviews with Rich on Tuesday for his film club, and Terminator 2 is what we're going to do. And I can't watch Terminator 2 without watching Terminator 1. It's just be sacrilegious. Andre said, you have a stand-up comedian's timing. If you like that, Andre, I do appreciate that. I'm not a particularly funny person, but if you like that, you should check out Shit Collectors Say number 1 and 2. They're really fun videos to make. Just a bit of a skit about how a lot of us say cliche collecting phrases. We're all guilty. I'm definitely guilty of some of them. There's some I don't say, I try to avoid saying, but I'm definitely guilty of some of them. But if you like that, maybe check out those 2 videos. It's Shit Collecting Say part 1 and 2. They're live on the channel now if you haven't done so already. I want a 3-pack of the clankers to go with my clone troopers. I should know what clankers means, but I don't. Is the clankers the pitroids? So I'm working my way through Clone Wars. I was watching it today actually. I'm nearly finished season 2 and I hear it gets good around season 4, so looking forward to that. Thanks very much to 28 people in the chat. If 2 of you aren't subscribed and you want to get me up to 1400, that'll be a nice way to finish the stream. Come on, get in there, get in there. Battle droids, sorry. Thank you. Verbal 74 and Blackbird Tech, thank you. Yeah, not enough caffeine for me this morning. Did clankers come from the Clone Wars? I feel it's something that came from the Clone Wars, which might explain why I'm not up to date on that yet. I am looking forward to seeing how Ahsoka's story arc comes off because, you know. Okay, here's the thing, right? This is our main topic for today. This is what I really wanted to make because the topic, it can be divisive, it can be emotional. This is not going to be negative. This is not going to be spicy, all right? So this is just going to be, we're going to delve into what fair criticism means. So this is the scene. I'm going to set the scene. Are discrepancies or differences between prototypes and products acceptable? Now, so I want to just like be really honest, and so like I don't want like to sound biased, but I feel like I have to explain that I'm the person who looks at the prototype and goes, right, that looks amazing. And then I look at the price and I go, okay, I can deal with that. I can make my peace with that. If I pre-order, I do pre-order based on the prototype and I hope for that. And I do kind of expect that standard. Little differences maybe, but I do expect the prototype standard because that's what makes me put the hand in the pocket and get the credit card or whatever. So I do expect prototype standard. And that's why I think the Black Widow one is kind of like, even though it's not like a Tony Stank or an Ant-Man in terms of differences, there's you know, obviously the Black Widow that we saw here is closer to its prototype than Tony Stank was to its prototype, but that's an extreme example. So my point is, I do expect the prototype, or extremely clear the prototype. So that's the question I'm throwing out to you. I really want you to participate here, otherwise I'm just talking to myself. Are discrepancies between prototypes and products acceptable? What is fair criticism? So that there's two questions there really. Like, are the differences okay? Is it okay for there's a significant difference when the product comes out that it doesn't really look like the prototype? And if that happens, what is fair criticism? How do you go about expressing that? Because we don't want to be like toxic and extremely negative just for the sake of it, but we can't go saying things are, everything's great, this is fine, like that meme when everything's on fire. Like, we can't do that. I can't do that. We need to kind of be objective in a subjective hobby, if that makes sense, because I know this is art and all art is subjective and people don't connect with the same things. But if someone like Scarlett Johansson is there and then the product is supposed to look like her and then it doesn't, like, is that us being subjective or is it objective? I would argue that the actress is the actress, and if something doesn't look like it, that's fair enough. So I'm just going to just mute that for a second. So that's the question. And I'm going to get you to type your opinions in the chat box. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that there. Now I'm going to be back in 2 seconds. It's more like 2 minutes. So okay, I need to go downstairs and get a drink. So I'm going to leave you there. Please don't set the place on fire. Thanks, folks. Hope you all behaved. Hope the YouTube is still in the one piece. I'm going to take some of your opinions before I delve a little deeper into this. Or maybe actually, I'll put this up as a little talking point, folks. Just a little, kind of just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Right. So Moostream says, the truth as you see it. So I presume you mean like everyone obviously has a different kind of a set of opinions and maybe different values, and maybe even like people. Some people are 20/20 vision. Some people maybe are short-sighted. Some people might be emotionally biased towards or against a character. So you just have to basically say your truth, I presume, is what you're getting at, or maybe I'm way wrong there. But that makes sense. So yeah, I suppose you be honest, wouldn't it be? But I appreciate that, and let me know if I've completely misinterpreted that. But from what I'm getting is just to be honest. Andre said, I find with pieces, it's subjective. Others are objectively bad or good, in my opinion. So I find with some pieces, it's subjective. Okay, gotcha. And others are objectively bad or good. So I kind of get what you mean, because I would say this here does not look like Robert Downing Jr. You could argue that Robert Downing Jr. has 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth and hair, and therefore it does. But let's be honest, folks, I don't think this looks like Robert Downing Jr. Now, even the prototype though, this definitely looks more like Robert Downing Jr. to me. However, the head shape is a lot more full here, whereas here the head shape is, I think, closer to Endgame, because he was he'd lost a lot of weight for that role, because he was, you know, it was obviously the start of the movie, he was above in the ship, but the face is not there. So I think this maybe is what you're saying, Andre, that sometimes things can be a bit subjective if the thing is close to the prototype. But then this is, I think this is being objective. This is not Robert Downey Jr. Only if they're very minor differences, or they're better than the prototypes. Yes, fair criticism is when it's constructive and not toxic or damning of the product or of a whole. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Just don't lie or exaggerate inappropriately. I think that is a very fair point as well. Don't say things are great when they're not, and you don't have to trash everything because there's one thing wrong with it. With the Black Widow, for example, I love the suit. I like the way it has an ankle articulation. I like the black. I like the gold. I do like the proportions, but it's just the head sculpt which just lets it down. One of the worst discrepancies, in my opinion, is Justice League Wonder Woman. Proto was great, and then the training Wonder Woman face sculpt, Dopo, and then they dropped the ball with the final monstrosity. Yes, and I feel even with the golden arm, I know you're not talking about the golden arm one, I still don't see Gal Gadot in that one either, but apparently it is an improvement. But that, I remember people talk about that one, Blue Tattoo. Thanks for that input. What you're showing now would be unacceptable to me. This was unacceptable to a lot of people. A lot of people. However, what's very unacceptable is going on to the artist page and abusing them. I think dissecting a figure and saying, okay, this is good, they've got the eyes right, but no, the hairline isn't right, or the face sculpt, the shape of the face isn't okay, the skin tone might be a bit off. I think that's okay, because you're voicing your opinion, and maybe people then vote with their wallet and they don't get it, and that does send a message then. But what happened with this particular scenario, there was disgusting messages getting sent to the artist, which is like, come on, like, we are a group, a niche group of fully grown adult men and women. We don't need another reason to be acting like children. So Thanks for clarifying that. Just being able to properly articulate why you don't like it. Yes, I think like if someone goes, if I like big into music, and I remember around my teenage years, like, you know, if I really liked a band and someone went, oh, they're crap, and you go, they're not crap. Like, why are they crap? And they go, oh, they just are. Like, that's not an argument. Like, you know, whereas someone said, oh, you know, all their songs sound the same, or, you know, their drummer is, you know, he's not great at keeping time, or, you know, their mixing is too loud, or, you know, their singer, the lyrics aren't great, or whatever, like, you know. But there's just that, they're just crap. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. You hit the nail on the head there, John and King. So yeah, this what we have on the screen is an extreme example. This is an extreme example. And if you remember then, they did actually offer the replacement for this head sculpt, and it was better. And I have the battle damaged Mark 85 above here, and it's one of the best head sculpts I have, because I think they took like the face shape here, because the shape, he was definitely more gaunt than in Endgame. I think this is actually a Mark 50 sculpt they showed, and which wouldn't be correct either. But they definitely did take this kind of more elongated, gaunt shape of the face, but then obviously they made it look more like Robert Downey Jr. It's probably like they changed the shape. So yeah, that's an extreme example, but that's just like a benchmark for this is unacceptable. But like I know it's not 2020. If you've just joined us, we're moving on. There's a point to this. So with this, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to influence anybody's opinion on this. So do you think the prototype here and what we got in the release is acceptable here? I'm really curious to see. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to influence the chat. So do you think this is an example of, yeah, this is up to the prototype standard, or this is an acceptable gap, or do you think this looks nothing like it? Really curious to hear what you think. This is obviously a DX19 prototype versus actual release specs. So if you've just joined us, the 29 people in the chat, if you want to just have a look at the screen there, we have DX19 pics up there. We have on the left the prototype of the DX19, on the right we have the actual release. And the question is, do you think this is unacceptable? Do you think it's acceptable? Do you think it looks like the prototype? Do you think it doesn't look like the prototype? Or is this like, no, this is fine? Thank you to Bearded Nerdy Oaf. Well, first of all, Blue Tattoo said the Golden Armor Wonder Woman is the best Gal Gadot they've made besides the training version. Yeah, I definitely saw the Golden Armor version, but I still didn't think it was. I didn't look at it and go, that's definitely Gal Gadot. But you were saying it's better than the training version. Thank you for that. Prototype is better, but the end version is still fine. The thing about this is they've been kind to him in both pictures, because it was originally marketed as Dark Knight Rises, and he definitely looked a bit gaunt and older and wrinklier in the Dark Knight Rises. But if you remember, when they released the DX19, they rebranded it the Dark Knight Trilogy, so therefore this could be anything. I actually think this is perfectly fine. Yeah, I think the prototype is excellent, and I think the release is excellent as well. And I think this is, if there is slight differences, but I do think this is like what I would consider close to the prototype, an acceptable gap. So he, I think they've got the face shape better here, because he was a bit gaunter looking in A Dark Knight Rises, but they should have thrown in a few wrinkles as well, because it has softened a little bit. But this is not something that I'd be like, this doesn't look like the prototype, because I look at that and I say, yeah, that's Christian Bale. Livestream says fine. This sculpt and John Wick, etc. is subjective though. So versus Star Ace Butcher is objective for me personally. Okay. I personally don't have this figure, but I think it looks great in my opinion. Prototype is better as always, but this seems fine. I think they killed it with the final DX19 sculpt and paint, and they are close, but I'm fine with the final product. Yeah, and the reason I didn't say at the start of this, like, well, I think this is better, I just wanted to see what people think. And yeah, I'm just giving examples. Like, obviously this one here is a very obvious example of, no, this is not the same as this. They're completely different people. This here, to me, yes, it does look like the prototype. Is there a few differences? Yeah, I think the prototype might be slightly better here, but they have definitely kind of the shape of the face here. I think they have better. What I think would be better here is if they take the detail here and put it onto this. I think that'll be a lot better. But yeah, this does look like the prototype. Is it 100%? No, but I do think this is an acceptable gap, but it's fairly minor. Still looks like Christian Bale. I'd be happy with this. I am happy with this, and I do have it, and obviously, yeah, very happy with it. The next one. You see where I'm going with this? This is back 2020. This is like earlier on this year. This is more recent. I've already told a story about this, that when I saw the final product. I'm actually not going to say anything about this. I want you to tell me. On the left we have the prototype of Cable, on the right we have the release. What do you think? Is this, like, does this look like this? Does this not look like this? Is this an acceptable gap? Which one do you think is better? Okay, so Benjamin E. Green from New York says, the release has very slight differences, but I think it looks close. The final product looks on point. That was in regards to DX19. I think that comment went up beforehand. Andre said, what's everyone's opinion on Marty McFly? None of the sculpts have ever landed for me. Subjective. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Like, none of them really fully land. I think they're okay. I don't think they're bad, but you know. The 1/6 figure focus, I think it's an acceptable likeness, and he put in Cable. Okay. Prototype is a lot better, but final product, I can still see the actor's likeness. Thank you, Bearded Nerdy Oaf. For me, the issue with the final product and Cable didn't, it wasn't with the head sculpt. So what I think is, on the left here, I see Cable exactly as I remember in Deadpool 2. And on the right, I see Cable exactly as it was in Deadpool 2. Maybe the mouth is a bit different here. I think you see maybe more of the teeth here. It could be just the angle. But I still think this sculpt is fine. Is it softer? Yes. But still, does it look like the prototype? It does. It is softened, but this isn't why I felt the figure wasn't worth $270. It was the next photo here. It doesn't really come across very well here. I'm not sure if you can notice it, but on the left you have the prototype, on the right you have the release, and the body, a lot of it's kind of missing there, but the body does look bulkier here. It's not a very good comparison pick, apologize, but he does look, I found the closest I could find in terms of like the way he was posing or something like that, but he definitely looks a bit bigger around the chest here than he does on the right. So what I made a decision was to do is go, right, I don't want to pay $270 for it because I don't think it's worth $270, because I won't have the option to pose it like this because he's just far too skinny. I'm going to layer him up with the t-shirt, the vest, the poncho, and I'm probably going to pose him up something like, actually Sideshow had done it in their boot tour that they did for New York Comic Con. They had the right idea. They had the poncho, they had the t-shirt and the vest and the poncho, and he had the gun like this, so you couldn't see the joint, and they had the poncho kind of just draping over his elbow, so you couldn't see the joint, so he didn't look skinny because he was layered up. And the reason I cancelled was because you shouldn't have to find that one pose to make these figures look good. They should look good in multiple poses. You should be able to pose it on the left there. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with the deal I got from Lion Rock Toys. And I'm really looking forward to it because I just really, really like Deadpool 2. And Josh Brolin's portrayal. I mean, come on, like, how toyetic is this figure? He's got that Technovirus metal Winter Soldier arm. He's got a slick haircut. He's got the kind of the light up eye. You know, he's got the, so you can pose him with the t-shirt, you can pose him with the vest, and the vest you have all the cartridges, the grenades, and then you got the poncho, which is wired as well. He's got the BFG, that huge gun. He's got a knife. He's got like a grenade launcher, but it comes with the grenades as well. He's got all these pouches on him. It's such a toyetic type of figure. I just thought it was like, it's just like this future soldier type. Really, really liked it. But yeah, I in this situation, I had no problem with the head sculpt. It was just the body was really skinny, and it just looked, it didn't look Hot Toy standard. It didn't look 270 for me personally, and that's why I cancelled and rebought cheaper. But I want to hear your opinions. Definitely looks softer, but still good. I completely agree with you, Ethan. I think I could still see, I can 100% still see Cable or Josh Brolin in both of these images, but there is more detail in the prototype, which tends to be the way of things. But this is what I consider, again, with the head sculpt, an acceptable gap, but with the bodies, it's not really highlighted well here. This is, I do think it's significantly skinnier, and the kind of, this joint here, kind of underneath the chest, is you can actually see it a lot more than here as well. So moving on then to, I'll just actually address these first. Acceptable, but too expensive. That was my thought process. Like I said, cancel, bought cheaper. I've seen Cable in hand, and it has the Hot Toys softening, of course, but looks really good. Good stuff. Glad to hear. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. It was like, it was one of the most anticipated figures of the year for me, and then I was a bit annoyed with the release. Not annoyed. I don't get angry about these things. They're toys, like, you know, but I do still feel a bit, it's first world problem annoyance, basically. The color tone and sharpening of the image still, image seems to be a play with Cable. Yeah, that could be it. What about this one? On the left, now, I never thought the one on the left, to be honest, looked exactly like Sebastian Stan. But yeah, spoiler alert, I think this looks more like Sebastian Stan than this does. So what do you think? Is this an acceptable gap? Is this okay? So just type what you think into the chat. Bearded Nerdy Oaf says no. No and a lol. Roy Visser, we have a celebrity in the building. So Roy Visser, obviously, I presume I don't have to explain this to people, but if you don't know, he is involved in the 6 Scale Scavengers. Hello, Roy. And he definitely influenced my display. The people I credit with influencing my display heavily, or in some way or another, would be Jedi Patrol. When he did the grid, he used to have 4 detofs, and he definitely influenced my display. And having one figure per shelf for the most part was very, very I think it's just really, really highlights how beautiful these items are. Roy also has, I believe Roy has detofs. Let me know if you're wrong, or if I'm wrong, Roy, about that. And he likes one figure per shelf as well. And he was the first person I ever heard talking about rotating your figures. So just that's obviously when you want to freshen up your display. And let's say I've got 5 detofs behind me, 4 spaces per detof, so I have 20 slots available. If I'm going, I know you can see Boba Roba here, but if I'm strictly 1 figure per cube, I have space for 20 figures. But what happens if I have 40 figures? And Roy, I remember this is going back as far as 2020. I was listening one night, he was on 6 Scale Scavengers. He said, well, I'll rotate. So he'll take some out, box them up, and then get maybe his new ones in, and repose, and it gives an opportunity for multiple things there. It gives you opportunity to take everything down, clean everything, repose, and have that kind of, you know, that I find posing quite therapeutic. You know, listen to a stream, put on some music, have a beer or whatever, and just repose and then put them back in. So he was the first person I heard speak about rotating your collection. So that definitely was influenced. And of course, Graham from the Jedi Knights watch, because he, I think, was one of the first people. He built a custom riser, so then your bottom shelf don't have to be mistreated. They're still high enough. So I just, yeah, Roy was saying the photographer using a very shallow depth of field on the release picture, creating an uncanny valley feel. So it's basically would explain the softness here, and you're not getting the detail. Whereas if you had a higher f-stop, I think I've got it right. I should know that, a higher f-stop number, there'd be more detail there. So it's almost like a bit of bokeh on his face. Would that be correct, Roy? I think my terminology is okay there. But shallow depth of field, so he just has this soft kind of blurred out look here, and that could explain why The Empire Strikes Again. Oh wow, thank you so much, that's awesome. No, it's true. I remember you being you had details behind you, and I was thinking, man, they look clean. That's a good, I'd seen details before, but just the way you had them displayed, nice and simple. It looks like they're valued when there's one in each shelf. But I am going to experiment with two in certain shelves. It's funny because I think the final looks like the prototype. Sorry, but the prototype doesn't look exactly like... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I actually think the left looks better here, but at the same time, I haven't nailed it either, you know, so that's a strange one. The Bucky also looks good in hand. If you watch S-Beam's review, he showed how good it is. I heard a lot of people referencing that as well, that in hand what he did with it made it look quite good. I need to watch that, but thank you very much for that blue tattoo. So that's S-Beam's brother. Only at Lael's price is it worth it? Yeah, he went to the Devil's Workshop for that. He went to the Devil's Workshop. I think he had a bunch of points and he got it for like, I don't know, $40 or something like that. I think the prototype looks better over the release, Winter Soldier. F1.2, so that's like a really low f-stop then, and just blurred it. Yeah, f-stop way lower than f8. You gotta love the old f8, Roy. f8 and be there. If you're a photographer, you've definitely heard that phrase. That's all you need to know. f8 and just be there. Way lower than f8. So yeah, the f-stop way lower than f8, which works best for these. Love that I had influence on your collecting journey and how you treat your collection. My setup are customized billies, half and sometimes 3 per shelf max, or sorry, 1 or 2 and then sometimes 3 per shelf max. I find getting rid of the stands makes it look a lot better. You ditch those stands if you're in a position to do so, and you have those feet flat regardless of what pose you're using. If you can try and get split cup boots, obviously help, but if you have flat feet on your posing and you ditch those stands, it lends itself naturally to a cleaner looking display. Like I've Robocop in the chair, that doesn't count, it's a chair. Apart from that, then the two down here, the Batman and the Superman, I'm using stands for them because I wanted Superman levitating, so that's why I used the stand for him. He's actually, I managed to manipulate that terrible Justice League ramp base, manipulate the wire just to have him levitating, and I thought it wouldn't make sense if Batman's next to him then didn't have the stand, so they're the only two I use stands for. Yeah, so I will be experimenting with a few paired figures. I have two of the Boba Robot 2-pack are paired, and so are Spider-Man and yeah, Spider-Man Deluxe Homecoming Spider-Man and Mark 47, because they just make sense together. No stands indeed. Perhaps it's lighting as well, possibly. And then it brings us to here. So the reason I picked these two, and these two, and these two is because in the last few months, there's a bit of slippage going on, I think. I do think it's fair to say there's a bit of slippage here. Head sculpt is softer here, although I still don't think the head sculpt's bad. Bit soft. People are saying the neck's a bit long. This kind of unsightly joint caught my eye here more so than here. The body looks skinny here, and the joint, I knew, now there was jointed arms before, but it just was more exaggerated here, probably because he's skinnier. I still don't see, I see Sebastian Stan here more so than here, but this isn't nailed it either. But I think there is a significant slippage going on here, in my opinion. And I see ScarJo on the left, but I don't see ScarJo on the right. So I suppose it just comes down to voting with your wallet, doesn't it? Anyway, is anyone here picking up this one here? Anyone actually, have they committed to pre-ordering this or getting this? And you never know, like, I mean, I'm going to do more research. I'm going to watch every review I can, because I would really like to get this. But if it's not up to the standard, then I'm not going to, you know? But what do you think about this here? Just going to leave that up there for a few seconds so people can gather their thoughts. Can they really afford to let the final product slip with so many companies coming in with great sculpts these days? Yeah, I don't think so, to be honest. I would agree they can't. If you were to get a Black Widow, I think this is the one to get. Thanks for your input, Roy. Thank you. This and the Endgame version. Yeah, I'd lean towards this because I want to pose it with Yelena, but I think what I'm going to do is wait, watch all the reviews, see if I can get closer to what it looks like in hand. There's no way of seeing what it looks like in hand unless it's in your hands. But I never really got the whole in hand argument, because like there's, you know, 4K footage out there. Watch enough reviews, you get an idea what it looks like. So I am going to watch everything I can get my hands on and then decide, but I can't see myself changing my mind, to be honest. I'm getting the Black Widow. I'm getting it as I'm Black Widow fan, but I do see the same issue. It's definitely my bias. I think the heads isn't horrible, and the suit actually looks great. I think the suit looks great, and I think it'll look really, really cool as well. And I still like the head sculpt. Like it's not like a Tony Stark. It's not an Ant-Man. It's just, it would still look like Black Widow, but it wouldn't look like Scarlett Johansson, if that makes sense. Something's definitely off the final. Yeah, I think if you're looking for a Black Widow representation, it's a better Black Widow representation than it is a Scarlett Johansson representation. Folks, I think I'm going to end it there. Thanks to the 29 people here and the people who are dipping in and out. Very much appreciated. I'll just do a quick recap on just a few things that are available on my channel if maybe you still want some content to look at. So yeah, collectively as a community we've raised €506.06, which will be dedicated to the Temple Street Children's Hospital. That is Dublin's or Ireland's National Children's Hospital. That's basically all of the super thanks, super thanks, super chat, super likes, all revenue from the channel is gathered up from August 1st to New Year's Eve, December 31st, and will be donated to that charity. So these are a few videos that are on the channel now. Hot Toys, they are listening. A few things that I've observed about them giving us things that we've been asking for years. I have a review of Deadpool 2, just a quick unboxing and review of the Deadpool 2, which is quite topical because of Deadpool 3. My thoughts on Echo, my thoughts on droids, my thoughts on ScarJo and Black Widow, which you've probably heard here, to be honest, and Boba on the Throne, which is fantastic. A review of Cody, that's not live yet. That's the only one of those. It's not live yet, but it will be. And an episode number 30 of Visions with Marvelous. If you haven't checked it out, please consider doing so. That's pretty much it, folks. We're going to end it there after very, very quickly. Just have a look. Is there any other chats? Andre said, it's not terrible by any means. It's just a little off. All right, good stuff. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you very much for joining in the chat. And we're out. See you in the next one. Good luck.